Welcome once again, everyone, to Black Middle Matters Global Series. We are not alone, Healing in Color, where we explore the power of culture, heritage, and healing through the voices of those who are reshaping our communities. Today, I'm excited. I'm joined by a man whose story spans kitchens, stages, and deep cultural roots, none other than Raul Thomas. He's a chef, theater visionary, pillar of Atlanta's creative scene, and yeah, a proud Puerto Rican baby. As the founder of Marietta's Theater in the Square and an accomplished chef, Raul uses food, art, and activism to tell stories, to build bridges, and nurture his community. From feeding crowds at the Taste of Marietta to restoring a historic performance space, his life is a celebration of heritage, resilience, and radical joy. This episode is about how healing comes through creative expression, community involvement, and honoring the culture that raised us. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me present to you Mr. Raul Thomas. How you doing, Raul?
After that introduction, I'm doing amazing. Are you kidding me? Wow. I started to look around and say, wait a minute, who's he talking about? Is that me?
Yes, it is. That is all you, man. That is all you.
Amazing. It's funny when I hear people say little pieces of my bio, and I hear people say things about me. I contemplate, and I really do say, is that me? You know, did I really do that? And if I did do that, wow, where has the time flying?
Hey, look, the proof is in the pudding, bro. What can I say, man?
Well, thank you for having me, man. What's going on?
My pleasure, man. Well, you know, I've known you for some years. I knew you before the theater.
That's right.
I knew you when you was doing the Chef Boyardee thing, videos and all this stuff back in the day.
Yes, sir. Back in the day when I was doing my food shows,
Your food shows. That's right.
Comida Latina, Comida Criolla. That was one of the first Hispanic Puerto Rican shows filmed maybe 15 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer than that, maybe closer to 20 years ago. Wow, time flies. Yeah.
Time flies, man. You were doing it, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I see you broke out with it. Sometimes, man, you know, Puerto Ricans, man, and black folks, we do the same. I think, man. I don't know, what the exact mix was back in the day, but we have a lot in common. We, our communities, some traditions, of course, there's differences. But I just got to say, man, I don't know whether you're black or you're Puerto Rican, man.
Well, Vince, I'm a little bit of both. And why do I say that, right? I'm an Afro-Latino. I am an Afro-Latino is what I am. And if you understand the Puerto Rican culture, we are a mixture of so many different races, all put in. I mean, the most part of us, the most part of Puerto Ricans is the European part, right? But then we have the indigenous Indian, the Taino Indian, we have Tubal, we have Togo, we have Congo, we have all of these other cultures in us that all together make this beautiful mixture of what people call Boricuas or what people call Puerto Ricans. As an Afro-Latino, I'm a proud Afro-Latino. I love my culture. I love my people. I love my skin color. I love my tone. I love my melanation. I love what I do and I love who I am. And the reason I love who I am is because this is what God created. He created a culture like none. He created a culture of one. He created a culture of God that just simply gives us the ability to continue to actually thrive and teach people the difference between black and white and what's in the middle.
Wow, that was beautifully said, man. I thank you so much for that. It's a beautiful country. Had the opportunity, the blessing to go, and the beaches, the food, and the people, man, so laid back. We just had a great time. So how has your Puerto Rican, now you've had quite a journey. As I talked to you, there was things I'm like, you did what? And you did what? But how do you think your Puerto Rican heritage helped you, become, because you've accomplished a lot. You've done some things. What did that Puerto Rican heritage bring to the table that made you be successful?
Well, it's where you at and where you're doing it at, right? I was raised in New York, in the Boogie Down Bronx, where I was one of a million. I was one of a common person right next door. I was one that If you went next door, you probably found a guy that was very similar to me. And if you went around the corner, you found a guy that was very, very similar to me as well. And that was what we had there in New York, in the Bronx, right? But then I moved out to Georgia when I expanded and I moved out, right? And this is where I became a trendsetter. This is where I learned my culture and where I took my culture and I was able to share my culture, where I was able to take this culture of mine and actually take the diversity of it and impose it and put it on people so that they could understand the difference of what other Latinos are, right? People would say Latino, the word Latino, they would think that Mexican, Colombian, Dominican, all of these other races were the same, and we're none of the same. We're all very different. I'm from the Caribbean island, where yes, you have Dominican Republic, where yes, you have Haiti, where yes, you have all of these other Hispanic or Latin commonwealths. But the difference is that in Puerto Rico, the bloodline runs through the Europeans, and from the Europeans, we have all of these other ancestries that are put in together, and that's what makes us completely different. So coming into Atlanta and actually being a trendsetter and teaching people how to eat Puerto Rican food, teaching people what the Puerto Rican culture was, holding events that taught our culture, the bomba, the plena, teaching all of these things actually made me somebody separate than what I would have been in the Bronx. So I became a trendsetter here. I was not a trendsetter in New York. In New York, I was a number like anybody else. Here in Georgia, I was able to separate myself from someone else and actually culture. Fast forward 25 years later, now I have a name for myself for bringing that culture to this part of the United States.
You do. You have a name for yourself, man, and that name is Chef Raul, theater owner Raul. What what inspired you to take over that Marietta Theater there in the square and then reimagine it as a cultural hub?
Yeah, I always, people always ask me, what made you get into theater? You're a chef, right? And I say fear. And they go, what? And I said, the word is fear. That's what made me get into the theater business. It was fear for a father that had a child that had a dream, that wanted to become a director, that wanted to become an artist in this crazy field called the arts. Fear, the fear that I had that I was going to allow my youngest son to get into a business that I didn't know whether he was going to make it or not. Right, one out of how many make it, one of how many thousands make it, and go on. Right, I wish he would have told me he wanted to be a lawyer, a doctor, even a fisherman. I would have been happier, right? But he wanted to be an artist. He wanted to come into this crazy business. So I had the opportunity. I had an opportunity of a theater that was here in a humble, little quiet town called Marietta, Georgia. That was empty, that was closed for over 5 years when I received it. And I had a vision. I had a vision as an entrepreneur that maybe I can turn this into something special, but at the same time, I would be able to seed it into my son so that he can make his own mistakes and go on and learn this business for himself, and not through this world of theater that could be sometimes not too fair.
Yeah, yeah, and you're sitting there close to the entrance. Was it called the Emile Theater? What is
Yeah,
it? The official
yeah,
name?
yeah. So we named Marietta's Theater the Square. The actual theater itself inside is called the Emile Theater. Emile is Nathaniel's middle name. He's Emiliano Thomas. His grandmother, when we took over this theater 10 years now in November, she said, you need a stage name. Not only do you, father has blessed you and your mother has blessed you with this amazing theater, but we want you to have a stage name. We want you to have a name that it's going to follow you for the rest of your career. And then she came up with the name Emile. And that's where that came from.
That's good. That's good. That's a good name. Good name for the theater. Got a chance to experience some things myself, some great performances, and you open the doors. It's a great, diverse productions that you put on there. Your audience is diverse. I mean, so it's a special place, man. It's a special place. That's definitely a place where we're all healing in color together. You know.
Well, we're a community, and in this community, we count on the village to show up. We count on our village to show up and to show out for us while we're doing the work. And as long as they allow us to do the work, we continue to do the work. The diversity part of it is something by choice, right? As Hispanics, We're not caught on white, we're not caught on black, we're not caught on up, and we're not caught on down. We're caught on our culture. And as we're caught on our culture, we want to share our culture. We want to share all cultures. So we're inclusive to everyone. We're inclusive to everything. We want to have a little bit of everything so that people can get that same diversity as if though you were in Broadway, as if though you were in Chicago, as in though you was in LA or maybe even San Francisco. See, the South has never been too culturally diverse. And it not being so culturally diverse, the biggest problem is actually being able to know that you can bring that diversity to Georgia,
That's right.
and that's what we've been able to accomplish.
Yeah, the opportunity to bring something new. You know, in our
Yeah,
podcast,
different.
healing in color means healing through culturally grounded, expressive traditions. What does that
Mhm.
mean to you? What are some traditions when you think of your Puerto Rican heritage and culture? I know strong women,
Mhm.
right? Strong
Yeah,
women,
yeah.
those kinds of things.
And I'm a lucky one because my wife is half Puerto Rican, half Cuban. So I get
Oh my goodness, you get it.
I get the best of all worlds. Yeah, I get the best of all worlds. I've learned sign language and I've learned how to listen because my wife talks with her hands and I have to listen. So I've gotten the best of both worlds. But no, realistically, when I think of culture, when I think of diversity, I think of me.
Mm,
Think of what I'm doing. I think of how I'm doing it. I think of my son. I think of Emil. I think about how we're actually going to the forefront and actually sharing diversity, how we're actually sharing our stories. Our stories are real. Our stories are normal. We tell them unapologetically. We tell them the way they are, whether people like them or not. Unfortunately, some people will love them, some people will not. We can't please everybody, but we're honest with ourselves and we're able to share with the people what we think needs to be told and the stories that need to be said.
yes, yes, and I have to say too, with your son Emil, he is differently abled. Is that correct way to put it? But
Yep.
man, he is sharp, and he is doing a. I mean, he's the Spielberg of Marietta. You know what I'm saying?
He is definitely the next Kenny Leon, if I can compare him to anybody in the industry. And the great thing is that Kenny Leon came out of Georgia as well. But I put my money on him uh, 10 years ago when we opened up this theater, and I can put my money on him that in the next 10 years, he'll be on Broadway doing the same exact thing that Kenny Leon is doing.
Yes, yes, outstanding, outstanding. Raul, you've been active in the community services, like you supported Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, I know family and things like that. How does giving back relate to your own healing journey?
I'll say this: I was raised in the Bronx, and as a Bronx boy, we've done a lot of things in our lives that some we're proud of and some we're not. And in my older days, as I've had the opportunities to give back and to make better for those good and bad things that I have done in my life, I found the vessel on how to do that, and that's through community. I found the community have been able to give back not only just to Puerto Rico, but to New Orleans during the hurricane of New Orleans, during Hurricane Maria. It was something very dear and near, and that's why I got so much fame behind it. Was because I was a Puerto Rican chef that was actually going on to the island delivering containers and containers of food, medicine, all types of clothing, all types of, of, uh, of equipment that was needed so that people can get through it for those 2 years that they were suffering through Hurricane Maria. Hurricane Maria was a little special to me, and the reason it was a little different was because it kind of became like a mission for me.
Yeah.
Literally woke up one morning and I seen what was going on, and I turned around and I looked at my wife of 30 years, and I looked at her and I says, "God is asking me to do something." And she's looked at me. She says, "What?" I'm not a religious guy. I'm not a very religious guy. I believe in God. I believe in divine intervention. I believe in our Lord Jesus Christ. But I'm not a very, very religious guy. But I felt a calling. I felt a specific calling. And the specific calling was that I needed to go and help my people. I didn't think about going to help my family. That's specifically there. I didn't think about helping individuals themselves. The island was calling me.
Mm,
And I heard it, and I heard that call. And in hearing that call, I got together with a bunch of chef friends of mine, and we all gathered together, and each individual business started to collect. And as you know the story, we collected over 27 containers of goods. We had We had warehouses full of stuff, to the point where we had to develop a 501c3 so that we can gather money so that we could actually ship this to Puerto Rico. We were shipping them in containers. It cost us about $3,500 a container to ship. And we had 27 of them. So do the math, right? So this was a really big operation. This was a big operation. And it was funny because at that point, there wasn't as many Puerto Ricans as there is today in Georgia. But the ones that were here, they said yes. They said present. They said, let's do it. And out of their own time, their own money, we put a crew together. We had warehouse workers. We had people picking up things. We had people packing things. We had companies giving us trucks. We had companies giving us everything and anything we needed to help the island, something that our own government wasn't doing a great job at. So we really feel very, very close to what we did. We feel very, very grateful. We feel very fortunate that we were chosen by whatever media or whatever means we were chosen. We were chosen to do it. We did it right. We represented correctly for Georgia and Puerto Ricans in Georgia. And it was just a proud moment, a very, very proud moment. That very quickly after that, they had an earthquake and we got back together and we did it again. And we just said, wow, we know the motion now. We know how to do this. We know how to put this together. And we went in the motion and we did it again. And we did it during the hurricane. And again, it's a community thing. Giving back feels good. Giving back means everything when you're raised having nothing.
Wow. Raul, one of the things that from the very beginning, I noticed and liked in you, is your positive, upbeat. I mean, I think every conversation we've had about anything is like, yeah, let's do it, man. Pull the trigger. When you going to do it? Saturday? Like, good Lord. Okay, well, hold on. I wanted to just talk about the idea. And I want to bring it back, even with food, man. When you're making food, of course, when you're putting on productions there, when you're doing things, I want to go out on a limb and say it brings you joy, huh? It brings you joy to keep, that's what fuels you as you go along.
Yeah. It's funny because when I started with the theater business, I didn't really understand my place, right? I didn't understand what it was, but I understood that I was getting really good at it really fast. And what I came to the conclusion is that as a chef for the last 33 years of my life, all I ever did was create. All I ever did was make people happy. All I ever did was make sure that people were satisfied with the product that I was giving them. Well, the theater is almost the same exact thing. We're always creating. We always got to make people happy, and we always want to ensure that the product that they're getting is satisfying to them. So it was an even balance. The only thing is that no longer with food, now it was with the arts. So when I partnered with my son, he brought the arts, I brought the business, but at the same time, I understood the arts. So I got good at it, and we were able to collaborate correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Has the creativity, the things that you've been involved in, would you say that they helped you personally during moments of life, moments of identity, the things that you do?
Yeah, I'm fortunate, man. I'm blessed. I need for nothing. I want for nothing. My career has been a good career. As a chef, I cooked for some of the most famous people and some of the richest people in the world. I've done things that only people can imagine. I've had my own food show. I've cooked for presidents. I've cooked for luminaries of all kinds, and I'm talking about in the Latin sector as well as the American sector, everywhere from Tito Puente Jr. to Mark Anthony to Jimmy Carter. I can go on and on and on. My career as a chef was full. My career as a chef, I'm accomplished. And my career now as a theater owner is getting to the same exact place. I think it's all because of my tenacity. I think it's all because I never take no for an answer. But I also mostly take the reason why I've been successful is because I know what it is to fall and I know how to get up. I think that's the most important one, is knowing how to get up. I've had my failures, but I've learned from my failures. I've had enough failures to know that if I teach you something, it's because I paid the price and I want to give it to you free.
You talked earlier about the fact that I guess after some of the weather took place, more Puerto Ricans have moved here now to Georgia.
Yeah.
This has been and I'm out here in the Gwinnett County, which is super duper, diverse of all kinds. The recently was well, you went to the parade. That's right. That wasn't
Yeah.
here. I don't think I've
Yep.
ever seen that many Puerto Ricans in my life, man. I was watching you
So
live.
this year, yeah. So this year, Atlanta, Georgia, the state of Georgia was recognized as the stateside community for the National Puerto Rican Day Parade, and I had the honor of being on the steering committee for this amazing honor. And over 60 Puerto Ricans from Georgia flew to New York, and most of them were what they call artists of different kinds. They call them people, singers and dancers and chefs and people of the entertainment business. Flew into New York. We all went to the Fifth Avenue parade. We got on a float. We represented Atlanta in the greatest way, the most fun way that you can possibly. Over hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans in New York. It was a week to remember. It was an amazing week. I grew up in New York. I used to do the parade all the time. I hadn't done the parade in over 25 years since I've been in Georgia. Going back home to New York and actually doing the parade. And then that Monday, I flew to Puerto Rico and spent the week in Puerto Rico. I came back so Puerto Rican, it's not even funny. I got my fix. I mean, it was just great. It was just a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous time. I got together with some great people and some great creatives that were able to come from here, from Georgia, to represent. Because, when I got here, there was about 14,000 Puerto Ricans. All right, now this is over 25 years ago. Fast forward to just before Maria, there was about 44,000 Puerto Ricans. And today we stand at over 135,000 Puerto Ricans in Georgia, just in the state of Georgia.
Wow.
In Atlanta, there's about 40 something thousand, but the Georgia area itself is over 135,000 Puerto Ricans, which means what happened? A lot of them have migrated here. A lot of youth has migrated here because of the conditions of the island, because of the conditions that we've been put in the island. It's almost impossible for a child of my son's age, let's say 30 years old or 28-year-old, to be able to buy and afford a house in Puerto Rico with the salaries and with the money that they make there. So they've been forced to come to the States so that they can get better jobs and then go back and actually either do the right thing for their family, or i.e. stay here in the stateside, because as citizens, we can be in either one. But the sucky part is that we only get to vote when you live here.
That's right. That's right. We've been talking about that for a long time, perhaps.
For a very long time. Very, very long time. Very bad thing. That Jones Act, I wish that Jones Act would go away. And if Puerto Rico was a free country and they'd allowed us to do what we had to do, we'd be producing a lot more things. We'd be functioning a lot better. We'd have a better electricity grid. We'd have a better community. And what we call the diaspora. The diaspora is the Puerto Ricans here in the States, would be able to do so much more for Puerto Rico if we just had that opportunity, which has been allowed to us yet. And as you know, things just continue to get worse.
It's as you were talking about the Puerto Ricans here in Georgia, interact with different cultures. It's so funny sometimes to meet someone who may look as Asian as possible, but once they get to talking, you can tell they're from Georgia. Is there such thing as a Georgian Puerto Rican accent? When you go home, they say, "Man, you talk."
There's not a Georgian Puerto Rican, but there is what they call like a Chino Puerto Riqueño. So there's an Asian that speaks perfect Spanish. They make the best Chinese rice and chicken that you could possibly think of on the island. They own businesses just like you and I. They are just as viable. They are Puerto Rican. They're just what we call Asiatico. They're Asian. They're from the Asian race. We have everything. When I tell you everything, we have Indian, we have Asian, we have Creole, we have all of this mixed in us. So to identify us is just to say that person can be. If you look at my father's a light-skinned white man. If you look at my mother's a dark-skinned black woman. God rest both their souls. I came out dark, my sister's light. I mean, we're just we're just a melting pot. We have a full variety of colors and a full variety of creed if I may say, in our ancestry.
Beautiful, man. Well, we got a few minutes, and I just mean a few. What do you want people to take away from your work, Raul, whether on the plate or on the stage as a Puerto Rican? What do you want people to take away from this?
What I really want people to take away is that as a community, we need to show up and not just talk about it. And as a community, and as a minority community, we need to be more level. We need to be more level-headed. We need to love more. We need to really understand that as a community, we owe it to each other to be good to each other. And I don't think that we give each other that fair chance. I don't think that we're good enough to each other as we should be. And I challenge people to be good to each other.
Raul, it has been a pleasure, man. Folks want to find out more. How do they find you?
Well, if you want to find out more about us, Emil Thomas and Raul Thomas, we're here at Marietta's new theater in the square. We're at 11 Woodlock, Marietta, Georgia, 30064. Our phone number is 770-426-4800. Our website is www.mariettatheatersquare.com. That's theater, R-E, not E-R, R-E, square.com. We have great shows going on here. We have amazing things happening. We have the Whitney Luther and Friends, which is an amazing review from our Sage Ensemble. Right after that, we're doing Sister Act. Our shows are urban. We do all urban shows. We do them unapologetically. We do them for you. We do them for the audience of everyone. But know that when you come here, it's going to be melanated and it's going to be well diverse.
It's going to be a good time, man. And
it's going to be a good time. Absolutely.
And some good drinks. I had one of those super drinks one night. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, we do drink specials. We do empanadas. We do food, right? Because as a chef, I still add that little influence in at the concession. So I don't have a normal concession stand and I don't have a normal bar. We just we do things, on with a twist. Emil Twist would be his show, and the Emil Kitchen will have a twist as well.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much again, my man, Raul Thomas. And we want to thank you all for joining us for this flavorful, and I mean flavorful and inspiring episode of Black Middle Matters. We are not alone, healing in color. Again, to follow Raul's work at Marietta Theater in the Square or learn more about his culinary ventures, just look him up. He's everywhere. You see what I'm saying? We'll have the link in the episode description. So remember, everybody, healing happens wherever we feed the soul, whether it's in the kitchen, in the community, or on stage. Until next time, I want everyone to keep creating, keep connecting, and keep healing in color. We'll see you next time.
Great. Have a good one. Thank you.